Hello again, and welcome to a whole new unit of this course. This unit is going to be about packaging Python code. Python packaging is one of the big reasons that I wanted to make this course. In my experience, knowledge about how to package Python code is one of the major differentiators between software engineers and coders in Python. If your career or your hobbies are going to have anything to do with Python, I recommend that you learn how to package your code because it has a bunch of different benefits that I will talk about in a second. So, what is a Python package, and why do we want to package our code? Well, if you've ever run the pip install command for any library, you've installed a package before. And in this course, we've pip installed lots of things, so we've installed lots of packages. The website that we're looking at right here is called the Python Packaging Index. And PyPy is basically a glorified file server with URLs that we can use to download zip files containing Python code, as well as crucial metadata about that code that allows us to run it ourselves. So a package is a distributable set of Python code together with the metadata about how to run that code so that other developers can consume it and use it in their projects. Let's talk about why you would want to package your code. The first reason, and the reason that we just talked about, is distributing your code. If you write code in Python and you want to share it with anybody, turning your code into a Python package is the way to do that. If the audience of your code is other developers, then you could give those other developers the ability to pip install your code and have it magically work. And if it's not obvious why code doesn't just magically work without pip installing it, we will definitely be covering that at length in future videos. There are other ways to distribute code that don't require packaging. For example, what if you wanted to make an executable? Maybe with a 2D game that people can play on their desktop. There are ways to build executables without packaging your code. Or maybe you're building a mobile app using a Python mobile framework like Kivy. Or maybe you're building a CLI tool or any other interface that isn't a package itself. There are ways that you can distribute your code in all of those formats without making an actual package, which is that zip file containing your code. But in all cases, if you do know how to produce a packaged zip file, those other mechanisms of distributing your code actually become even easier. What if you're a team of one? Do you need to package code to distribute it to yourself? There are some pretty compelling reasons to package your code, even if you're working solo. And one of those reasons is actually the fact that import statements in Python tend to be kind of complicated and often painful. If you're working with multiple Python files, chances are you're going to want to import different functions or classes out of some files into others so that you can write reusable code and scale your code base without having an ever-growing single file that is thousands of lines long. Python is flexible, so there are some hacks that you can use to get import statements to work in that kind of scenario, even without packaging, but if you learn how to package, it's going to be a lot nicer for you. And the final reason I want to highlight is reproducibility. Reproducibility is the ability to run your code or rerun your code and always get consistent results. Have you ever had a Python project that you wrote a year or more ago and you were trying to get running? One of the eternal problems in software development is writing code only to come back to it a month later and find that it doesn't work. Or write some code and it works on your laptop, and for the life of you, you just can't get it to work on a friend's laptop or a coworker's laptop or on a cloud server in production. Which, by the way, is what this meme is talking about. Although this meme is not talking about packaging, but about something else called Docker, which in a sense is an extra powerful packaging tool. And it works wonders for reproducibility, but it is outside the scope of this course. While I was working on this video, I was hoping to convey a lot of enthusiasm about packaging. Because in my experience, packaging is often completely ignored in a university setting, or in a coding bootcamp or online tutorials oriented towards beginners at coding. And as I alluded to, there are ways to work around not knowing how to create code packages. But ultimately, having this skill is going to seriously improve your quality of life while you're writing code, whether you're a data analyst writing one-off scripts or complex projects, getting insights from data. Or maybe you're a data scientist developing models, looking for a clean way to distribute both your machine learning model weights and your inference code. Or maybe you just want to write games in Python or apps in Python. Or maybe you have engineer in your job title. And given that you know Python, that could mean you're a data engineer, or a back-end engineer, or a cloud engineer, or a software engineer, or a DevOps engineer. Having a solid grasp of how to package software, and specifically here, how to package and distribute Python software, will allow you to more gracefully scale your code bases and your teams, and maybe even your whole tech org, whether that's for a company or for some open source foundation. Thanks for watching this video. Please join me in the next video where we'll start to go into further depth on these three concepts and prepare to build some packages.